What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at the 2024 Subaru Legacy Sport. Now, the sport trim here sits right below the top touring trim, so we've got just about every feature that you could want here on the Legacy, but it has a couple exclusive sport-themed accents. You'll see some of the badging, some of the little red accents here that make it a little bit different, a little more interesting looking. So let's go ahead and start up front and talk about everything that you have here on this 2024 Legacy. So starting up front, you have some really nice sculpted LED headlights. This is a full set of LED steering responsive headlights. They look really, really neat. They're pretty low profile and they have this little 3D element that juts out right here. Some reflectors on the side as well. If we move up to the front here, you've got a nice big Subaru badge right in the center and this kind of matte gray grille here with this body color magnetite gray metallic on the fins here, as well as this little red accent. That's one of those sport accents that we see that really helps set it apart from the other Legacies. Then you have some more body color here, a little bit of a sculpted element, and then this little hook here that is kind of a faux carbon fiber look, but you do have LED fogs there as well. And this is just kind of like plastic cladding. It looks nice. Then you have more plastic cladding down at the bottom of the front fascia. Now, the standard engine option on the Legacy is going to be a 2.5 liter boxer engine. That's going to give you 182 horsepower, 176 pound-feet of torque. But here on the Sport and then also on the Touring, you're going to have the 2.4 liter turbo boxer engine. It's going to give you 260 horsepower, 277 pound-feet of torque. 31 miles per gallon highway, 23 miles per gallon city on the 2.4 liter. And obviously, since this is the Sport, that's what we have under the hood here. And of course, it's going to be paired with the Lineartronic CVT, which also has an 8-speed manual mode. The Sport model here sits on these 18-inch gray alloy wheels. They're pretty minimal in their design as far as the Subaru wheel goes, but they do have a nice finish to them. It's kind of a sparkly gray, and it mirrors well with everything else that we have going on. Like I said, you've got this Sport badging here, which is a silver badge with a little red accent to it. Nice little touch there, helps it pop. Moving on back, you have body-colored side mirrors. These are manual folding mirrors, but they do have integrated turn signals. They are heated and they have blind spot monitoring built in. Keyless access here on the door panels just by pushing this little button right on top. Put your hand inside, unlock. Put your finger on the pad to lock, nice and easy. Power moonroof up top, and then you have fixed mounting points for roof crossbars as well. And then of course you do have your EyeSight driver assist cameras up here that work with your suite of EyeSight safety systems. Now moving to the back of the Legacy here, the first thing that you notice is the body colored rear spoiler here. It's a nice touch. Big sloped rear glass here, which is nice. Subaru badging in the center here, and then you have these nice taillights. They're not super intricate, not anywhere near as intricate as the front headlights are, but you do have a little bit of this kind of black cladding around them, which gives them some nice contrast, and this nice little C-shape accent here. And they kind of work their way onto the actual tailgate here. You've got Subaru badging, symmetrical all-wheel drive badging, Legacy badging, and then more of that Sport badging like we have on the side of the vehicle. Rear camera up underneath. And then down here we have a couple parking sensors. You have dual exhaust tips here, and then more plastic cladding right here as well. And a little bit of some design here around the exhaust tips as well, which looks nice. And then just a button to open the lift gate there. No power rear gate option on the Legacy here, which we don't usually see that on sedans, but the new Sonata actually has a power lift gate in the back, which is interesting. We'll take a look at that on this channel once I can get my hands on one. You've got a little pull here, so you could drop your second row seats to get even more storage capacity. I'll have all dimensions on screen, but you have a pretty decent sized cargo area back here. I've got my camera box back here as always. Fits nicely. I could fit my tripod, I could fit my backpacks, I could fit anything I need to as far as my gear goes. But you have all kinds of stuff back here as well. You've got your Sport mats here that have the little red accent on them. Those are the cloth ones. You also have all-weather mats that we optioned onto this one, and then you have an all-weather liner here in the tailgate area as well. Up underneath, you also have your jack, and then you have a spare tire all the way down at the bottom, which is great. That's pretty much everything here on the tailgate. You've got a couple cargo hooks and things, but nothing too crazy. You could definitely put a net there, and then you have a little bit of a bumper applique. So that's pretty much everything here on the exterior. Let's go ahead and hop inside. All right, so hopping inside the cabin of the Legacy Sport here. A couple things stand out. The red accent trim, the kind of little faux carbon fibery accents, those definitely stand out. Obviously, the large 11.6-inch infotainment display stands out, but we've had that for years now now on the Legacy. But let's just go ahead and work our way all the way across the cabin and talk about everything that we've got inside here. So you have a soft touch rubber material that is on the top of the door panels and runs all the way across the dash. Then you have a black leather with that red accent stitching and with this textured plastic element here around the door handles, and that's what you have above the glove box as well. More of that black leather with the red accent stitching on the door handle area here and where you put your arm, so nice and comfortable there. You have automatic windows on all 4 windows, which you don't get on every vehicle. That's nice. Also, since we are in the sport trim, new for 2024, you have a Harman Kardon audio system standard. You have your trunk opening button and then your brightness dial for your displays right down here. One vent here on this side, a vent on either side of the infotainment, and then another vent for your passenger, obviously. Lights, wiper controls behind the steering wheel. And then you have this nice leather-wrapped heated steering wheel, and it's a 360-degree heated steering wheel, so you're not gonna have to like put your hands in a certain place to get that heat. It's gonna be anywhere on the steering wheel, which is nice. You've got your media controls over here on the left side, and then your adaptive cruise control with lane centering on the right side, as well as your SI drive buttons, and then that heated steering wheel button is up underneath the steering wheel. Paddle shifters on the back for that 8-speed manual mode, and then past that you have your little driver information cluster there. What we've got on everything basically that Subaru makes, 2 analog gauges and the little information cluster in the center, and that just shows you like what gear you're in. It shows your adaptive cruise settings, some safety systems, things like that. So it's just nice to actually have a screen there. I wish it was a full digital display, but maybe we'll get there eventually. Who knows with Subaru. Then up top here you have your driver focus distraction mitigation system kind of sensor right here, and then you have your big 11.6-inch infotainment display, which I mentioned. This is Subaru's most up-to-date Starlink system. It's got wireless CarPlay, wireless Android Auto. You've got phone, Bluetooth, on-screen climate control, valet mode. You've got your rear view camera, all that kind of stuff on this display. Now, as far as the climate control system, you do have a dual zone climate control system here. You can use the physical control on the side here of the infotainment screen, but then everything is on screen outside of that. And you do get rear vents in the back as well. And then down from that, you have more of this rubber material with some different accent stitching there. This gear shift area has a lot of piano black plastic, which you guys probably know is not my favorite. It's not a lot, thankfully, but there is some in this area, and it is going to get dusty. It's going to get fingerprints. It's just what happens. Same with the shift knob here. It is a leather wrapped shift knob at the bottom with more of that red contrast stitching, which looks great, and this controls your Lineartronic CVT. But if we move back, electronic parking brake here, a little kind of like pocket area here, a 3.5mm jack, 1 USB-C port, and 1 USB-A port for charging. And then if we move all the way back, you get 2 cup holders here, and then this center armrest area, which has leather material on the top with red accent stitching. And then inside you have a 2-parter, so you have this little pad here that you can put things on. And then if you were to lift this pad up, you get a nice deep pocket with a 12-volt outlet, which is great because you don't have one anywhere else. In here, you don't have one in this area, so you got to have it here. And then the only other real little accent is over here above the glove box, and it's just a little pocket or pad area that has some of that textured plastic, red accent stitching, and the leather material. It all looks great together. Now, as far as the seating surfaces go, you kind of have these 2-part seats. They have more of like a textured cloth down the sides and the bolsters, and you have leather on the outside with red accent stitching, and then you have leather right down the center as well. Now, the driver is a 10-way power seat with lumbar support. Passenger is a manual seat, but this does have the all-weather package, so both of your front seats are heated. Up top, you have an auto-dimming rearview mirror with universal HomeLink garage door controls and a compass, little sunglasses holder, some LED dome lights here, and then you do have your single-pane moonroof right here, and your controls are up here as well. All right, so hopping here into the back seats. There is so much space back here. It really cannot be overstated. I have this seat where I would normally sit. I mean, look at that legroom. I mean, that's gotta be 3-4 inches of rear legroom. You can tuck your feet up underneath for additional space. You've got decent headroom here. It's not the best, but it's pretty good. Shoulder room feels adequate for this size. You've got your center armrest that can fold down here, 2 cup holders there. And again, these are super comfortable seats with this kind of 2-way cloth and leather feel to it with the red accent stitching. You have 3 map pockets back here, a large one, a medium one, and a small one with red accent stitching. You have it on the back of both of these seats, 2 vents, a USB-C and a USB-A port, as well as auto windows, like I said. Same door materials almost exactly between the front and the back seats. There is a little bit of leather missing on a couple parts, but you get the same overall feel, which is nice to have those mirrored. Got some handles here, some lights here, nothing too crazy. But again, the space back here is pretty impressive. I'll have all dimensions on screen for you. You have almost SUV feeling space back here, at least kind of a compact SUV feel. Super impressive from a sedan. All right, let's take the Legacy Sport here for a little test drive. So again, this has the 2.4 liter turbo boxer, 260, 277. I haven't driven specifically the 2.5 liter to directly compare, but I have driven the Crosstrek Sport and Wilderness and things that have the 2.5 liter, and it's the same engine, so I can kind of compare. Again, it's got the CVT lag. That's just something we've come to expect. That's what all these Subarus that have the CVT, which is all of them, are going to have. Let's just give it a little acceleration test. It's quick. That is very, very quick, actually. You can definitely tell, like, that CVT lag hits, it takes a couple seconds, and then that pinned me back to my seat. That's got nice power, nice torque, nice horsepower. It just takes a second to get going. But if you can kind of wait out that CVT lag, it's punchy, that 2.4 liter. I like that. Now, as far as handling, I think that it is not the most enjoyable ride. I'd say it's smooth and quiet, but it's not like this exhilarating kind of sporty drive, even though this is the Legacy Sport. It still feels just very much like your run-of-the-mill, everyday kind of sedan, similar to like a Malibu. It's just more run-of-the-mill, and that's okay. It's just one of those things that could be more of a priority for Subaru, I think, to make it a little bit more enjoyable to drive. But nonetheless, giving you that 2.4 liter is a nice touch. Now, as far as the steering, feels fine. I don't really have any issues with it and haven't taken curves or passing or anything like that. It all feels fine. It's a Subaru, so it has super sticky brakes, and it's a Subaru, which means it has great visibility here. You do have a pocket window here on the side near the A-pillar. You can see your side mirrors just fine, no issues there. You can see through that pocket window, so no issues there, and huge front glass. Nice big back rear glass as well, which is great. No rearview mirror camera here, just your standard auto-dimming rearview mirror there. Let's go ahead and use the adaptive cruise here. This is the advanced adaptive cruise control. Go ahead and start that. And we've got it set pretty far with this lane gap, so I'll put that down so we stay caught up here. And it does have lane centering, so it's gonna do its best to keep me in the center of the lane here. You guys can kind of see how it's doing there. You can kind of see it subtly turning a little bit. It's not gonna take me around this harsh curve. I already know that for a fact. I've tested a lot of these Subaru models, but lane centering is really nice, and to be able to use it on the highway when there's not very many curves and you're just mostly going around slight bends, it's gonna do a good job of keeping you in the center of the lane and keeping you away from the vehicles in front of you. I would like for them to give a full digital display. I've been wanting that for so long, and we just don't have it anywhere except for the Solterra, which doesn't even really count because it's a Toyota mainly. Using this display, I've talked about the 11.6-inch display a lot, and my biggest issue with it is not the look of it. I think it looks fine. It is the responsiveness, and you can see right there, Exhibit A. It is just a pretty clunky display. Stuff loads really slowly. It isn't fluid and responsive. If you have one that has navigation, it's really slow to navigate that. Even when you're using some third-party stuff like CarPlay or Android Auto, switching between apps, swiping across the screen, it's just slow. So I don't know what they need to do to fix that necessarily. Just coming from a tech perspective and a user perspective, it's just not that fun to use, although it looks great. Now, as far as the seating surfaces go, they are awesome, super comfortable seats. I like the kind of two-tone look to them with the leather and the cloth. I think it's a cool contrast with that red accent stitching. I think it looked really nice. And again, they're comfortable. Lumbar support feels good. They feel padded, they feel bolstered. No real complaints there. Yeah, it goes for sure. Again, it takes just a sec, but once it gets going, it goes. I don't really think you're going to be lacking for acceleration or passing power at all. So again, this trim here, the Sport, sits right above the Limited, but right below the Touring. And I think this is the perfect sweet spot. You get a lot of nice sporty accents with the little red trim on the fins in the front of the vehicle and the Sport badging and the red accents around the steering wheel here and on the seating surfaces. You get alloy pedal caps, which is a nice kind of sporty touch. You get the leather and the accent trim around the shift knob. You also get that 2.4 liter turbo. It's just a nice sweet spot of feature set, looks, and performance, and I think this probably is going to be the best bet and my recommendation for which trim level to go with. You can get a couple more things up on the Touring, some more premium materials on the seating surface and things like that. I just don't know if it's really worth it, but you know, if you want the top of the line, then definitely go for the Touring. But if you want a nice mix of premium features, sportiness, and that 2.4 liter turbo, definitely check out the Sport trim here on the 2024 Legacy. So thanks so much for watching, guys. Drop a like on the video if you loved it. Tell me in the comments down below, what do you think about the 2024 Subaru Legacy Sport? Let's have a conversation down in the comments, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button to be among the first to see every single new video the second I hit publish. We'll see you in the next one.